Well, how y'all are this afternoon? This is your buddy George Jones over here at the Alberga Gun Range with my next installment on 8. I got this old used gun. The old used gun I got today is this guy. This is the RG66. Now the 66 was probably the best of the 22 single action cowboy style guns that RG manufactured and imported. And it's just a simple, straightforward 22 caliber single action revolver. Not a whole lot you can really say about it beyond that, you know. This gun come out about 1974, and I bought one of them about 1975 or 6, and just shot it to doll rags, buddy. I mean, that's all there is to it. Had a pretty good job at the time, and you know, I could afford to go down to the Western Auto Store and buy 2 or 3 cartons of 22s on payday and not have any of them left on Monday. Me and J.D. McNevin both had these things, and we used to go out to the river and sink beer cans with them and just, you know, shoot up the countryside, drive around the forestry land, look for dump sites where people would illegally dump, and then we shoot the dump up, you know, at whatever was laying out there. Great fun. And but this was one of the guns that we used, and this was probably the first one. The RG66 was actually my first handgun. It was the first handgun I ever owned. It's not this one, but it was one just like this. So when I was over at Apache Armaments going through the gun pile looking for something to bring out and test, I said, well, let's find out how an RG66 has fared over the past 40 years. So we got one here and we're going to try it out. I'm shooting a Aguila Super Extra, which is Aguila used to be a bargain bucket brand of ammunition, and you used to see them around in the 80s, mostly in 45 caliber. But here lately, Aguila has come out, well, in the past few years, they've come out with several 22 rimfire cartridges, and they've become available. And you used to not see 22 Aguila at all, and then all of a sudden, boom, there it was. So we've been seeing a lot of it, so I've got me a carton of Super Extra, and I figured I'd come out and start trying it out on various things. We're going to try for the old targets downrange there and see if we can't hit something with it. This is a 5-inch barrel 22 pistol. You know, basically an economy gun. We're going to find out whether or not it still shoots good. And here we go. Learn whether or not it shaves lead and whether or not it'll blow up after 40 years. Hey, that's a hit on the chest center. Okay, let's hit it again. Yep, that's a hit on the chest center. Let's try the 8-inch steel swinger. And I hit that. Okay, let's get ambitious. Let's try the old 3-inch Mickey Mouse. Let's get us a rest to go in here and see if it'll do it. One more. I seen it hit down there. There we go. And the old big plate that never rings. And we're out. Pull that guy back to half cock. Punch the empties out in the normal way. The thing about the RG66 was, you know, the several 22 caliber revolvers, single action cowboy style revolvers available in the 1970s, and the Buffalo Scout, F.I.E, Buffalo Scout, the Kimmel Western 6. You could still get the one that Uberti was manufacturing for herders when they were still in business. You could get those. You know, there was a lot of them to choose from, and most of them were kind of clunky in their action. The 66 I always found to be fairly smooth. Of course, you know, in your teens, trying to develop your skill level and your knowledge level, you know, it doesn't take much to impress you. But this gun shoots pretty good, buddy. I remember the first one I ever bought of these, I think I paid $29 for it, and it had 2 cylinders. You know. Of course, in those days, you could shoot 38 Special for the same money you could shoot 22 Magnum. You know, I like this guy. It's a fun gun to shoot. I may have to tell Charlie, sorry, buddy, I'll just have to come down. I'll just have to keep this one. The only problem with a 22, the only problem with a single action revolver is, in order to get the thing loaded or unloaded, you just about have to point it at somebody. You know, you always have to be careful and get the thing in. If you get it in a comfortable position, which typically lay it on its side in your hand, you know, it's typically pointing at somebody. So you got to be really careful, because you have this tendency to do that, and it ain't good. All right, let's try some more here. I think I like this old gun. Yeah. Let's try the little 4-inch down there. Now 25 yards, 4-inch steel sling. Gotta hold your mouth right, Jones. Ain't hit it yet. By God, it knows we're here. Yeah. I think they manufactured these guys up until, you saw them around about 1975, 76, 77, all the way up to probably about 1980, which is about the time RG went out of business. And then all of a sudden you just didn't see them anymore. And the thing about it is, I think the reason why you don't see them for sale is for the simple reason that they're just exactly what they were supposed to be, which was an economy priced cowboy gun, really easy to operate, you know, pleasant to shoot, and people don't want to give them up. You know, that's the thing. That's why you hardly ever see used single action revolvers, period. You know, because people just enjoy shooting them, and it's the mystique of having a single action gun, or the ease of operation involved in it, or whatever it is. They seem to enjoy that single action gun. And I've got a Ruger. This gun is actually smoother operating than my Ruger. I think that's it. Yeah. It's a little smoother in operation than my Ruger. It shoots straight. It's a good gun. The RG66, other than being it has a floating firing pin and does not have a transfer bar. So when you've got that hammer fully forward on a live round, there's a drop issue, okay? There's an AD issue based on just that. Now it has a quarter cock on it, which is good and positive. I've tried to bump it off a little bit, you know, and it won't do it. So that's your only safety arrangement. There's no other safety other than pulling that guy back to quarter cock. It has an adjustable rear sight on it, which is basically just a little jeweler's screw there with a little piece of metal, and it's got maybe 1/64 of an inch, you know, on it, that you can adjust it. It has a pinned in barrel. You know, it's just, you know, an economy price handgun. But this example of it at some 40 years of age works. So that's a pretty good indication that if you see one of these guys around, you take a notion you want this type of gun, chances are when you buy it as a used gun, it'll probably work. I was noticing here, the board over here doesn't have any lead shavings on it. There's no lead shavings laying around on the bench, so it doesn't shave lead, or doesn't seem to shave lead. The cylinder indicates that it doesn't. So, you know, overall, RG66 at 42, 43 years old is still a pretty good running little single action revolver. Value of this gun in today's market is somewhere around $125. They've gone up $100 in value if you've got one that works right and shoots right. Okay, so, and that's pretty good. People say, oh, cheap gun ain't no investment. I'm telling you what, it's like a savings bond. You let that thing lay around long enough, stay in good condition, and it'll eventually be worth money. You know, this is worth about $125. It's sold new for $29. Took you 40 years to get to that investment, but it's there. All right, then, that's about the size of that, and that's about it for this installment on Hey, I Got This Old Used Gun. Keep liking, sharing, commentating, and some scribbling. I looked on there, we're getting pretty close to that 1,000, less than 100 away, and you know, somebody's getting a brand new gun. All right, then, we'll see y'all.